In a while, and we're recording this, obviously. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and start introductions. Um, so I'm really excited to have Eric here today. He's the founder of BelongHQ, and it's another AI, very interesting startup that Marilyn and Twyla have brought to our group. Um, we always start with introductions, so we'll go around the room and have everyone introduce themselves, who you are, what you do, and where you are, so that Eric knows all of you guys because he's going to lay out what he's looking for in an advisory board member. And so all of you guys could be candidates for that. If you guys wouldn't mind, you can put your questions in chat, but we don't want to take the questions until after Eric finishes his presentation. And Eric, what we'll do is most people will raise their hands, they'll come off mute, they'll ask the question, and if there is a question in chat, then we'll ask them to ask the question so that you can hear their voice and know who's asking those questions. So, you guys, I'm going to start with my screen and have you guys go around the room and introduce yourself to Eric. And then I'm going to turn it over to Marilyn. She's already got her slide, the agenda slide up. But let's start with Twyla and Megan. Twyla, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody, and then I'll have Megan do that, and then we'll start around the room. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. I'm Twyla Fannin. I'm the head of revenue for Galvaco. We're a startup, an AI company. I have a background in computer science, actually coded for a while, and then moved over into sales. I've got close to 30 years selling software solutions to small to very large companies with a real focus on government contractors.
Glad you're here, Twyla.
Thank
Megan,
you.
introduce yourself. You're so important to these meetings.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Tanner. I work with Marilyn and with Cindy, both. I work with Marilyn with WorkTech Advisory, and I also support an organization called Learn, which is an HR technology community out of the Twin Cities area. I'm actually located in Georgia, north of Atlanta, and I'm glad to be here with everyone today.
Thanks, Megan. Hey, listen, Martha just said she can't hear the audio. Can everybody else hear it?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
good.
Okay. All right. So let's go around the room, and I'm going to start with Matthias.
Sure. Good afternoon. Matthias Piotrovich. I'm VP of People Strategy at Denata. Denata is part of the Emirates Group. I've been in HR for more than now 25 years in different roles. Prior to Denata, which I've been here for about 14 months, I was working for Siemens most of my career, if you will, and I'm part of the ESA, and glad to be here and learning something new of a new startup. So excited to learn what the startup has to offer, as well as to interact with the rest of the team. Thank you.
Thanks, Matthias. And Matthias was our guest executive last week with Christian Gomez. Thank you, Matthias, for doing that. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Carolyn, you're next.
Always have to take it off mute because I always forget. So, Carolyn Schneider, I am testing retirement, although I have just signed an agreement to be an advisor to I would say it was a mid-stage startup, and I'm excited about that. We'll see if I can give them some help. And Cindy, I'm going to introduce them to you later this afternoon. I'm going to send that email, but at any rate, yeah, so I'm doing that. And then tomorrow, I don't know, I've got wrangled into doing a meeting with some people that I've known forever that are starting up a new company. And I'm anxious to see what they've got to say. And we'll see what happens. I am really trying to retire though. Okay.
You're not going to be able to.
Okay.
But I'm having fun, and I'm coming to you from the Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. And my history is I was formerly the CHRO of a large healthcare organization, about $6 billion in revenue, probably 25 to 30,000 team members, and we did an entire transformation project there. And oh yes, and I also was part of the executive team that took it public, so that was fun.
Yeah. Carolyn, thanks for being here. I
Yes,
love
happy to
seeing
be
what
here.
you're doing.
Thank you.
Noelle, you're next. Good
Hi,
to see
everybody.
you, Noelle.
Nice to see you, Cindy. Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Noelle. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. It's where Cindy and I first met. I'm excited to be here. I run my own boutique consulting firm, and I'm really focused on what I'm calling deep vision alignment. Most teams align their team on the plan, and when the plan breaks, the team breaks. So I help align the teams with the vision. So when the plan changes, they just reroute and recalculate for the change ahead of them. And I'm in Kansas City.
Glad
I
you're
already
here,
said that.
Noelle.
Thanks.
Susan Kelleher, hey.
Hey there. Nice to see you, Cindy. Hello, everybody. My name is Susan Kelleher. I currently am doing board work and strategic advisory work across private, family, fast-growing startups, and not-for-profit. I retired as a CHRO of the Comores Company after about 30 years in the human resources space. Having been at Comores, that's what brought me to where I currently live, which is Wilmington, Delaware. And I split my time between there and Carlsbad, California, which is our home. And for you looking, trying to retire, I'll just tell you, retirement's only okay. You just want to be busy enough, and I think that's the key. So I endeavor to always stay busy enough, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
Great advice. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan. Hey, Rick Byer.
I'm Rick Byer, and I've had a long career in human resources with what is now Bank of America in the state of Kansas and J.E. Dunn Construction Company. Currently, I operate a human resources consultancy in Kansas City. I have a portfolio of things that I work on, including 2 board roles and then also strategic planning, executive coaching, and the like. Glad to be here.
Glad you're here, Rick. And he's also helping start a private directors association practice in Kansas City. So we'll talk more about that later. Chuck Kemper, hey. I think he's there. Chuck, you there? I'll come back to him. David Jewell.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Jewell. I live in Houston, where we're having our first 90-degree day today. I'm a retired energy executive and currently do executive coaching and strategic planning with clients. Thank you.
Thanks for being here, David. Hey, Jeanette.
Enjoying the 90-degree Houston temperature today. What do we say? The one thing is the alligators and the snakes have gone back into the lakes. So that is a good thing. That's how we measure spring to summer here anyway. But hello to everyone. I am currently the Chief People Officer and head of workplaces, which includes all the stuff that nobody else wants to do, like travel and contractor management and facilities, for a integrated telecommunications company. We're headquartered in California, 8x8. And, it just seems to be a particularly crazy time. I don't know if it's my life or if it's just life in general, but boy, things have been interesting of late.
Yeah, you travel a lot.
Yes, I do travel a lot. So, but I'm in Houston today. So there you have it.
Good. Glad you're here.
Me too. Me too.
Johnny Anderson.
Yeah, thanks, Cindy. Hi, everyone. I'm John Anderson. I'm in Kansas City. 40-year career in IT and cybersecurity. Most recently, CIO for 20 years at Shook Hardy and Bacon. I do part-time consulting now, primarily in the private equity space.
Thanks for being here, John. Tim.
Hey, everybody. Great to see you. And I am looking forward to this presentation. I saw the deck, so this is going to be great. I'm here in Indianapolis, Indiana, getting ready for that 500 coming up here at the end of the month or next month. That's going to be great. I've been in the HR space for way longer than I'll let anybody know, and I'm here thanks to Cindy and Marilyn as well. I started my career with just after Arthur Andersen, and Cindy and I'm sure have some stories to tell
Yes,
there.
we
But
do.
at any rate, I had my own consulting firm that I grew for about 17 years and had the opportunity to sell it to a private equity firm in New York. And since then, I've had the opportunity to be in a CHR role in both healthcare space and big brand manufacturing as well. And the past couple of years, I've been doing some in advisory roles, and the past couple of years specifically, really focusing on retention as a strategy, even a strategy for hiring. So again, really interested in the presentation today, and glad to be here to learn from everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Deanna.
Hi, I'm Deanna in Oklahoma City, and we had our 90-degree day, and now we're back into the 60s, so we're a little chilly now. I spent about 35 years in oil and gas, all sectors, and had executive roles across finance, IT, HR, and pretty much every other back office support function. Currently, I am on a board of a private equity midstream oil and gas company in the Permian, and also do coaching and consulting across a number of different industries and for-profit, not-for-profit companies, do strategic planning, organization development, and have taken on a fractional COO role in kind of the logistics and trucking industry.
Glad you're here. You are busy. Erica.
Hello, everyone. I'm Erica Nillis Plumley, and I oversee human resources for a company called Stonebridge Senior Living. We have 22 nursing home and assisted living facilities in Missouri, Arkansas, and Illinois, and also immediate past president of SHRM of Greater St. Louis, and getting some more board experience as a board member with SSM Health, which is a kind of a conglomerate here in St. Louis. So thank you.
And you went and visited Maryland and Minneapolis.
I did. Yes, I'm just getting back from Minneapolis.
Glad you're here.
Thanks.
Let's see. Fanny.
Hi, everyone. Fanny Shoemaker out of Dallas, Texas. So we hit our first 90-degree day yesterday, and along came hail. So yeah, welcome to Texas. I have 30 plus years in the total rewards and HR operations space, almost 15 years in mergers and acquisitions. I've had multiple industry experience, deep in the retail space, CPG, manufacturing. Now my current role, I've been introduced to healthcare. So it's a lot of fun learning that industry. Certainly very, very dynamic right now. So super excited to hear your presentation. Like Tim, read the materials and really looking forward.
Thanks, Fanny. Glad you're here. Ryan Bond, good to see you.
Good to see you, Cindy. I'm Ryan Bond. I'm the Chief People Officer at Thrive Restaurant Group. So we've got about 8,000 folks spread out across 18 states and about 200 different businesses, which is really fun. I just rolled off the board of a construction company, a regional construction company. So that was a great run. I did that for about 10 years. And then I volunteer as the board chair for Humankind, which is the largest homeless and affordable housing provider in Sedgwick County. And got a little podcast called Your Pre-Shift that would love for y'all to check out. So excited for this today. I read the deck. I'm stoked.
Glad you're here. Good to see you in person. Well,
Yeah.
It's not really in person.
Close enough.
Okay, so Martha, can you hear? now?
I can hear you now. Yes. It was a user interface. Anyway, good to be here. Good to see you, Cindy, Marilyn, and the rest of everybody here. So I am calling from the city that never sleeps, from New York, and we are in the mid 60s here reporting the weather. I'm an HR leader, about 20, 25 years in different leadership roles. My last couple of roles have really been large enterprise transformations in the tech space, and most of my background is in tech, data and analytics, and in media, and just very excited for today's presentation.
Thanks, Martha. Glad you're here. Tanya.
Hi, Cindy. I'm Tanya Oglesby. Nice to meet you guys. I'm sitting here in Georgetown, South Carolina today. I'm the Chief People Officer at AEG Vision. We own about almost 600 practices now across the country because we keep acquiring them every week. But yeah, so we've been busy. Actually, Ryan, it was nice. I got to meet you at Modem last week. So yeah, nice to see some familiar faces on the screen. And like everyone else, I'm excited about going through the presentation today. It looks very intriguing.
Glad you're here, Tanya. I've been worried about you guys. Are you near the fires at all that are happening?
No, we're okay up here right now, knocking on wood. We need some rain though.
Yeah, everybody does, except Kansas City. Okay, so let me see. Chuck, can you hear? I'm coming back to you. No. Who did I missed? Oh, who's the Zoom user? Oh, and is that Tracy? I don't know. No. Okay, so
yes,
Harry.
it's Tracy.
Harry.
Sorry.
Okay, Tracy. That's okay.
I'm pushing the wrong buttons. It won't let me put my name on there. Hi, I'm Tracy Linza. I am Cindy's neighbor, and she has taken me on as a project for the last 18 years. I was the HR benefits administrator, board administrator, handled all the elections for the last 18 years at the electric co-op in our little town. And now I'm branching out things new. And right now I'm in Arizona, where I think we're going to be in the high 80s today, a little dip in temperature here. And I'm helping my kids watch their baby while they get ready to move. So looking forward to
you're coming
today.
back to BV soon, right?
Yes, next week.
Good.
Yep.
Harry White, I think you might be the last one.
Hey, everybody. I'm Harry White, a human capital consultant with ADP. I've been there, I guess, 7 years now. 8 years before that, I was in sales and operations leadership. So excited to be here and glad to connect with everyone.
Okay, so did I miss anyone?
Cindy, Charles.
Oh, Charles. I thought when I saw CLK, I thought it was Chuck. It's Charles, and I bet you've been busy. Go ahead and introduce yourself. They'll understand why you've been busy.
Yep. Charles King, also in Kansas City, Chief Technology Officer for Evergy, which is the local electric utility here in Kansas City. So have all of IT, technology, things like AI, also cybersecurity, about a $6 billion company, 1.7 million customers. And to Cindy's point, the bonus this morning was not waking up to tornado sirens. So we're going to go with that for today.
Yeah, that's been crazy in Kansas City. Glad you're here, Charles.
Thanks.
Okay, did I miss anybody else? All right, then I'm going to turn it over to Marilyn. She's going to go through the agenda and introduce Eric, and then Eric's going to take it and do the presentation. So, Marilyn, it's all yours.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Cindy. And thank you so much, Cindy, for building this amazing community. What is just totally outstanding and cooler than cool is the ability of us to be building direct relationships among and between. So if you haven't connected with everybody else on LinkedIn, by all means, I hope you take the opportunity to do that because it is a flippin' small world here. So, Marilyn Pearson Hendricks, partner of Cindy Olson and ESA, and we've had this monthly session. So I think not everyone in this session here is, I think, a repeater, but we do have a couple of first timers, and so welcome. And what we do is on a monthly basis, we bring some cool new startup that meets the criteria of either they're replacing a member of their advisory board, there's a certain time limit, so you might roll off, and there could be new openings. So replacing advisory board existing, there might be, call it, well down the road to readiness of actually getting their advisory board launched. I will say it sometimes takes a while for these things to get hatched, or advisory board curious. And so the story behind meeting Eric is Twyla and I were at Unleash in Vegas in, what was it, March, last month. And at happy hour, we happened to bump into Eric, who authored this book and told us about the amazing startup that he was launching. And also because Eric has actually served on advisory boards or had been in that capacity, he understands the value and the opportunity from a go-to-market perspective. And so Eric, we're just so excited that we were able to get you in quickly here into our schedule, and excited to learn a little bit more. The way this is going to work is I will help Eric run the slides. We've got 20 minutes. And then what Megan is going to do is she's going to, like normal, what we do is we have a link for your feedback. And so we're going to say, be like Rick Beyer, who every single time, hell or high water, man, he gets this feedback in there. So thank you, Rick. And it is so appreciated, even if you aren't in a position where you have bandwidth, or maybe you're not, if you're currently in seat or working with clients, that maybe you're not a good candidate for pilots or funding or any of the asks that may come about, the normal ones that we see. But any of the feedback and your insights, I just have to say what a gift that is. So consider that the price of entry for being in our monthly meeting. So we've got Eric on for 20 minutes. If you do have any questions that you just want a parking lot, pop that into chat, and then we'll revisit that as we open up the Q&A. We'll go until we run out of time, and then we've got another one for you next month. And um, so that's just a little bit about our program. This is pretty unique. We don't know of anything else that is quite like this, but we're essentially a double-sided marketplace for the board advisors, opening up a monthly opportunity for you to get placed into join a board, an advisory board in hopefully the capacity that's a good match for you. And for founders, this can be just a complete and total life-changing experience in terms of getting the right group of people as part, the support structure as part of their go-to-market. This is just a little bit of our brag slide of the organizations that we've had through here. Some of them don't make it. We've had one that was on here, I think I took it off, TaskHuman. They didn't get their Series C funding. They closed doors. And others, we will see hopefully future unicorns. And what happened with me is I'm currently a executive director in a nonprofit called Leading Edge Human Resource Network in-person community out of Minneapolis. And then serve on a number of advisor boards, mostly with Cindy, and then succumbed to Galvaco and got invited in to join as co-founder. And so that's been taking a lot of my headspace, but that doesn't mean I don't still have a portfolio life. So again, we talked a little bit about this as the scenario. We do not charge for these meetings, the vendors, and so it's just really an open doorway, open portal into the world here. So that is our program overview. What I'm going to do right now is get Eric staged. And Eric, while I'm getting your slides going here, maybe what you could do is do an introduction and share just a little bit, and then we'll start on your presentation.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Megan. Thank you all. Twyla, if I don't see you on here now, but thank you. Twyla, I did that before.
Yes. Common.
So I got to tell you, there's a little bit of trepidation going on right now. And the more introductions that I heard, the more trepidation blossomed. So 'tis a season in northeastern Ohio where we don't know as to whether or not we should be putting our winter clothes away yet. We were down. We had last week we had ice on the windows, and yesterday we were up to 79. So it could be anywhere in between. Um, but it's also the season right now for me to feel those butterflies, and part of it is this is something that is a passion of mine and has been for decades. It also is brand new for me. And I'm pressure testing with you guys something that I think might be pretty big. So that said, I welcome your feedback. Um, I haven't done many pitches. I've been an advisor, and so I've listened to them. And so I'm putting myself, I'm trying to think back. So what was it like to be that person? I'm about to find out. So, I was with an organization, we're going to get into the story in a little bit, that spurred what we're going to talk about here. And that spurred a lot of research, 2 years worth of research. The research that I tapped into actually goes back to my dad. My dad is a retired chief HRO in healthcare. We're in Cleveland. Yeah, he was at the Cleveland Clinic. Um, he has his PhD in org psych. The dissertation is group dynamics. And so my brother and I were voluntold to go through his through his work. Um, and much of what I learned, I sought to carry with me through my professional career. I started off in not by design in recruiting. I don't think anybody in recruiting starts off there by design. And eventually moved up into leadership roles. I spent some time in the PE world. I spent some time in manufacturing, aluminum recycling, tier one and suppliers to the automotive sector, OEMs. I also did a tour, a detour through lean consulting. So I spent some time in identifying what is value, what truly does the customer want, and what is waste and where does it occur. I found my way back into tech, and that was with Ariba. And my role was head of talent management, set my business card on a global basis. But it was I was there at a unique time. The quest was to double in size, and we did. We were then acquired by a little software company called SAP, and was part of the TALT there, and ultimately left. That was not where I wanted to be, and found myself into a publicly traded um, tech organization, and frankly stayed there for the next 13, 14 years, from publicly traded environments to small VC-backed organizations to PE-backed organizations. And I saw some reoccurring themes that actually led me to start a different book. That book was on how to scale. And, for those of you that know Craig Fisher, he's like, the name of the book should be Scale This, targeted specifically for CEOs and founders of tech organizations. The folks at Andreessen Horowitz even said this is a book that, Eric, when you finish it, we would like to put it in the hands of our founders. Guess what? The book's not done, and I don't know at this point if it will be, because I have other priorities in life. So my focus was on what is the infrastructure that binds us? What happens below the surface? And that is actually far more foundational to all that other work that I did. And that became this book, the 56% Solution, available on Amazon. But I'm happy to see if I can get you a copy in a far more cost-effective, immediate way. Please reach out to me. When I was writing it, I had the pleasure of getting to know the CMO of Deloitte. And I was telling him about what was going on with my research. And he said, Eric, when you get this done, please let us know because it's adjacent to so much of what we're doing. I finished the book, I gave him a copy, and he came back to me and said, Eric, you found our white space. You found our industry's white space. This is an opportunity to tie things together that we haven't been able to do. So I took that as a positive. I spoke with a dear friend of mine in leadership at one of the well-known HR analytics companies. And he said, Eric, I think you might have found the Holy Grail. So that's a lot to live up to. And I don't plan on, I'm saying that I found the Holy Grail. What I do plan on saying is that I found something that I think works. And we're going to talk about that now. Okay. So I could be a bit of a research geek. I am a fan of what the Conference Board, Deloitte, and Boston Consulting, BCG have done. A little bit of a disclaimer. I am a senior fellow with the Conference Board in the Human Capital Group, so I am slightly biased. But some of the findings that stood out for me was that there's a mandate in 2026 for chief HROs that goes well beyond simply measuring engagement, culture, and DEI programs that leadership puts certainly a microscope on. The conclusion is that we aren't in a position right now to be able to deliver on the underlying conditions of those. A second finding, the tech stack that we are working with, as I mentioned, isn't quite there. It doesn't address the human conditions that actually govern outcomes in returns. It's not causal. It's belief, it's sentiment, and it's correlation as opposed to causation. So yes, we might have a HRIS system, we might have an ATS, LMS, and the like. They actually surface conditions that are around sentiment. They actually measure, yes, cycle times, but they don't actually get to what causes the differences in cycle times. I sought to address something slightly different than that. Finally, what I've referred to in my book as belonging infrastructure, and feel free to take a step back and say, okay, this is basically human infrastructure, is a layer that is the foundation of all of those. And it's a way of looking at the other 2 points here through one lens. The rest of what we're going to be talking about is how do we actually do that? Next slide. So Conference Board found that 30.2% of CFOs have flagged that automation is the top challenge. And rather than saying show of hands, I would be interested if you could send a note to Cindy and to Marilyn. I'd be curious to see if that rings true with you. They also found that 60% of those firms that go down that path around AI transformation, they fail. They never make it past levels 1 or 2. They never make it to outcomes. They simply are caught in the frame of well-being and mental health. Deloitte found, and I love this stat. I don't know if anybody here had a chance to hear the presentation in Las Vegas, but they identified that 93% of all the spend is technology driven. Only 3%, I'm sorry, 7% are on humans, enabling humans to deal with the transformation itself. They found that there is 16% of the allocation that is deployed actually ends up in hands with people that can actually do something with it. 94% isn't. They refer to it as a soft wiring gap. They also found that only 5% of the executives are reporting they have the ability to actually report on that. So there's an opportunity for us. Boston Consulting found 70% of the value of AI transformation comes from people and processes. 300% of the transformation success from purpose-led organizations. So are you tied? Somebody mentioned earlier the notion of purpose. Are you tied to what you are doing? And how do you deal with things when they fail? This stat is one that certainly rings true for me, and I hope you've seen that as well. 50% of attrition reduction is associated with inclusion. We're going to talk about more of that in a little bit. But the instrument to actually deliver on those measurables doesn't exist. Next slide. So what we report on, and this is to the board, this is to our employees, this is to leadership, doesn't exactly land right. It doesn't land in a place that people could say, yeah, it's that. So it's not DEI. Belonging infrastructure actually governs those conditions in which everybody operates. Different, it might be a completely different question, a different instrument that DEI is solving for. It's important, but this is different. It's not HR. So HR runs on strategies. They deliver on strategies. The infrastructure itself actually governs from the top down. When I say the top, it's a board level discussion. It's a board level directive. The disclosure mechanics, the mechanisms that we actually talk about, that is a category that doesn't exist. It's not mood. We aren't, again, I referenced sentiment. I referenced feeling. I'm not aware of a solution in the marketplace that actually gets to the connection between belief, the emotive state, the emotion, the sentiment, the behavior, and then ultimately to outcomes. It's not vibe, because otherwise that vibe in that transition from belief to emotion would have been captured, but it's not there. Next slide. So, story time with Eric. My last in-house role was I was recruited into an organization, WorkRise, where they had just raised $700 million from Andreessen Horowitz. The objective was to build a two-sided labor marketplace with 1 million individuals in the trades on the platform. My job was to, going in the door, have a team of 113 individuals to help the company scale to do so. Within 6 months, my team was capped at 38. Shortly after that, we had a riff. We cut 55% of the organization. My team was the one who had the pleasantries of delivering the bad news. My team shrunk to 11. Our EMPS was worse than the organization's at negative 73. I still have my Lattice mug here. Thank you, Lattice. But we pulled the plug on them because if we're not going to do anything about what we're reporting on, why do it? Why report on it? So my team was reeling. I brought everybody into Austin and I got to know Texas Heat. I was there on a monthly basis. And we ran a 2-day workshop. The first day was a bloodletting. As they said, it's let the poison out. I view it as Martin Luther taking his list of grievances and nailing it to the cathedral door, saying this is BS. Actually, what the team called it was the wall of shit. And it was a list of all of their grievances. And as I was told, Eric, brace yourself. You're not going to like what you see. Some of them are directed at you. Frankly, as a part of the ELT, all of them were directed at me. Every single one. But some of them were directed at me. And I cried. I mean, it was visceral for me. The second day, we borrowed a page out of Appreciative Inquiry to assess what do we look like at our best and what conditions are the prerequisites in order to be our best. Fast forward, CEO loved the outcomes of it and said, let's do this for the entire organization. We actually sampled 15% of the organization, gathered tremendous feedback on ways we can improve in the organization. Within 6 months, our EMPS was positive 8. So that swing that we saw, an 81-point delta, was directly tied to identifying what is happening at the belief level, what is happening at the emotional level, what is happening around behavior, and then connecting that to outcomes. I'll say now, though, as another disclosure, that this book was not that. It was based on that. The research took me in a different direction, and the yield was this book. So next slide.
Right. And just a quick time feedback. We're just about a quarter to, so we want to allow some
We'll
time for
fly.
Q&A.
We'll
Okay.
fly. What I
All
did
right.
find is that the underlying condition for what I deemed to be belonging was 5 pillars. Psychological safety. We know what that is. Inclusion. Are you even in the room? Support. So what does HR do for you? What don't they do for you? Your manager, what they do or don't do. Even the technical ecosystem in which you work. Connection. Do you have your tribe? And purpose. Going back to what we talked about. Are you connected to the why of the organization? Are you connected all the way down to the task level? Next slide. And by the way, I want to point out that my research is on the shoulders of people like Amy Edmondson for psychological safety. Each pillar has a body of research. This book has about 435 sources that I used to write it, and they're peer reviewed. It's academic, it's science, it's neuropsychology, evolutionary biology. So it's not just Eric's gut that you're experiencing. It's something that actually goes well beyond me. All right, so the variance under the composite is where things sit, and this is pretty important. So we have 5 pillars that define what the system is. The composite is what the board might see. The problem is neither actually tells you where to spend the money. The aggregate actually hides what's happening below the surface. So you might have a 4.2 when we measure belonging on those 5 pillars, and that might be a good number to have. That's healthy. The question, though, is there's a failure because of the level at which it's being reported. The manager is the unit level of analysis that we need to be considering here. People build or break conditions from their team, on their team, based on what the manager does or doesn't do on any given day. And if you can't see that happening, you don't know where to allocate the dollars to fix it. Next slide. Okay. So how does this get used? On the left, you can actually see the use cases. The second column over is in what way does it actually connect to belonging itself? Each one of these connects directly to pillars. If not one, multiple pillars. How does it become expressed? The engagement form, and then finally the far right column, the metrics. So we could actually see when it comes to change management itself, the composite recovery curve, is it staying flat? Is it improving? And for those of you that have done deployments on a significant basis, this is something that the board actually cares about. These use cases are use cases for the board of directors, not for HR. That being said, we could talk about use cases for each individual in the C-suite. AI transformation. One little plug on this. I'm talking with a very large Big Four firm, and I have a meeting with them on the 8th, where the question to them is, how can we engage BelongHQ to help determine the preparedness for AI transformation? More specifically, does the organization have the underlying human infrastructure needed to sustain the change? So if we go back to reasons why transformation efforts fail, it's because they don't have that underlying infrastructure. I refer to it as a belonging infrastructure to be able to transcend all the challenges that you're going to experience. Do you even know what the baseline is that you're operating with? It's kind of hard to be able to determine ROI if you don't have that. Another really big use case is around due diligence for M&A. I have a friend of mine used to be with Excel KKR. He's a CEO of one of their large portfolio companies. And as he said, Eric, I want this in due diligence for every acquisition because I understand materially what the value is that we're buying as opposed to what we think we're buying. Furthermore, he said, I see this as a predictor of corporate outcomes as opposed to a lagging indicator. Next slide. So, as I mentioned earlier, it does hit differently for different functional areas. I will tell you that if you are sitting in private equity, if you are the lead operating partner, I would sell to you that we are able to identify the invisible drag in your portfolio so that you can actually drill down and create value through recommendations that we provide. Again, at the unit level of the manager. So the CFO, with this, we could actually address capital productivity. I have a thesis out there, it's up for peer review right now, that actually brings belonging infrastructure to the realm of CapEx. A buddy of mine, former CFO of Republic Steel, said, Eric, this is the closest thing that I've seen any talent initiative come to CapEx. Again, I'm happy to have that conversation with you later. But for each of these leaders, there's the opportunity to provide them with the visibility into what is happening below the surface.
Right. So Eric, this is amazing. And obviously it's a sophisticated discussion and a bit of a layup. We do want a little bit of time for a dialogue, really, and then obviously to be able to continue individually or in small groups as we sometimes do. Could we get down into kind of a close so that we can open up a discussion?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
As I mentioned, and if you want to jump to slide 11.
Okay.
Belonging underlies any decisions around human capital allocation. Belonging underlies sustainability. It underlies transformation. And that could be an acquisition, that could be a major restructuring. Without it, you don't have the foundation to actually know where you're starting, but also stand and withstand the challenges. 3 asks for the room, and that's the second to last slide. I'm at a point now where, and a former colleague of mine, the former CFO of Reba, and I were talking last week, and I said there are only 2 things I need right now. 2 things. Pilots, I need the data. More than anything, I need the data. Secondly, I am right now working on an MVP to be able to actually deploy into organizations to help them identify where there is drag within their organization. Ultimately, we are a consultant-led solution. So we would go in and actually do an assessment, do a diagnosis as to where you are. And in doing so, we will be able to provide you with not only where are you, but what you need to do about it. And then to actually deploy the technology so that you could do it on an ongoing basis. There you go. Oh, last but not least, where did the 56% come from? It's on the last slide. BelongHQ and Harvard found that organizations that have belonging outperform their competition by 56%. They found that there is 50% less attrition, 75% less sick leave. And for those that look into how technology is deployed, a 4x improvement in tech innovation. Thank you.
Fantastic. This is like amazing. We're trying to decide, do we put Eric in as a thought leader? But since you're in super early stage of your go-to-market, this would be a great place to start. And when you're amongst friends. And so we didn't have any comments or questions in chat, but if anyone wants
Carolyn's got her hand
raised.
Yeah.
Oh, Let me see.
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Hey, thank you. Great presentation, Eric. And it's something that's been on my mind for years. And I know you mentioned Harvard. Do you know Lauren Rubis?
I don't know her. I know of
Yeah,
her. I don't know her.
yeah, it's a
Oh yeah,
male.
yeah. I've seen the name.
Yeah,
In
Lauren taught a course at Harvard, the extended school, and it's all on this specific subject. It's around organizational design and belonging. And he's actually got a company called BelongifY. You might want to, look him up because I mean, it may trigger some more information for you just as a thought. And then the next thing I was going to ask you, because I know we measured that, we actually used that as a measurement through Pulse. How are the sentiment of our team members when they belonged, and then we correlated that back to attrition as well as patient engagement. And we were able to sort of layer all that together through a platform. And I'm wondering what kind of platform. I know you said you were in MVP, but do you really need to reinvent the wheel is a question I'm asking.
this is not the same wheel.
Okay.
So in fact, I actually spoke with somebody who said, Eric, this is a new category.
Uh-huh.
So this is a category creation play. And the reason for that is many of the solutions that are in the market right now do a fantastic job of measuring, they measure sentiment, and it's a moment in time, and
Mhm.
it's how do you feel. One of the things that we will be doing is, and I've actually worked with folks in around the architecture of this, is gathering the metadata, the dust, the digital dust, as well as taking, for example, the key things that private equity firms look for when doing a deal. We look at the key indicators in healthcare. I'm actually going to be speaking with 2,000 residents at the Cleveland Clinic on this. But what does a chief nursing officer look for? How does she measure outcomes? What matters to her? And then how do those five pillars align to that, and in what way? And what happens if if you go from a 1.2 to 1.5? And that right now, nobody is doing.
Or I guess I'd ask the question, Eric, does anyone know of anyone that's doing it?
Please do. I've yet to find that entity. And so, and even like BelongifY, I have them up right now. And yes, I think what they're doing matters. This as a solution it's not around culture. This is about something that's it's more foundational. And yes, culture will eat your strategy for lunch every day of the week. But we are actually connecting, like I said, from belief to outcomes.
And Eric, can
Good
you
question.
explain exactly how you guys are doing this? Or do you have a technology that does it? Or how do you get this information from an organization?
So there are a few ways. And by the way, so yes, there is a survey tool that is absolutely essential. We do want that. We do want that sentiment. To calibrate, we actually have to start with focus groups. So at the front end, we have to calibrate. Then once it's calibrated, because organizations are different, then we're able to connect that to the survey. However, what really matters is what's happening with the financial statements. What really happens with the records that CFOs look at, records that chief operating officers look at. And it's in there so we do have some IP to address just that.
Harry has
So
a
it's
question.
just one more thing. It's a survey to get the data. Is that true? And
No,
then is
no,
there a technology somehow a technology deployed?
the survey is only one piece of it.
Okay.
It's only one piece of it. So for example, the MVP that we're going to market with is it's a preparedness tool. It's a diagnostic solution to assess preparedness for AI transformation. And with that, yes, there is a survey, but we are also looking at we need to have an export from finance. We need to have an export from operating units within the organization to actually be able to tie one to the other. So it's not just a survey. What really matters is how does that align to the outcomes themselves.
Harry, I think you've got your hand raised.
And where's it happening?
It sounds to me like it's almost procedural and you're selling change management, but at a different level almost, right? Like giving them, hey, here's what it's missing. Because after you get all the information, the analysis that you can track later on, the deployment piece, like that's where I'm missing is that deployment. So they give you all the information. If I'm this, CEO, like, hey, I bought this, I gave you the information, like what is the deliverable, just a list of things that I then have to roll out with my frontline leaders, right? Is that where I'm saying I need to now spend the budget and have another internal meeting?
So the primary budget on transformation is not BelongHQ. The primary budget for transformation is what the organization does to support the human infrastructure itself. So yes, this is tied to change management. In fact, that's one of the use cases that Deloitte, the Big Four consulting firm, actually talked about. It is also something that we've talked about at the conference board, and doing a co-author piece around change management itself. So yes, that is part of it, but this is also a way then to be able to say, and to the board level, to be able to say, this is where we stand, these are our gaps, and this is specifically what we need to do about it. And it's not only, as I mentioned, not only the composite 4.25 or whatever it is, it's where things fall apart is down at the unit level is the manager. And does the manager know what to do about it? And some have said, Eric, this is a management enablement tool, because we actually are what we are providing goes down to all managers, but particularly those managers that are in the lower decile of reporting.
Eric, thank you so much. I mean, I think we could have gone for at least another hour along these lines. So we've had the beginning of a conversation here to something that is like amazing and provocative. It's incorporating elements that we're familiar with and also new approach and a more holistic viewpoint. And what I'm seeing is a much closer tie to manager effectiveness and organizational results. And so, and please go ahead and provide your feedback for Eric in the link provided by Megan. That is so valuable. And we're really looking forward to continuing our conversation. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, Cindy, for hosting.
Thanks, Marilyn. I appreciate it. And Martha, I saw you had a question. Why don't we do this? Well, I'm going to send the follow-up email, Eric, and I'm going to ask Martha to send her question to you so that you can answer that individually.
Gladly.
Okay, great. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Great presentation.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Thanks.